Welcome to Cancer Lesson 5.1, How do we detect cancer? The goals of this lesson are to explore current methods of diagnosing and treating cancer, and to consider the challenges of choosing appropriate diagnostic tests. At the end of the lesson, the students should be able to differentiate between a preventative screen and a diagnostic test. Describe the different options available for detecting and diagnosing tumors, and explain why different detection methods are employed. We will achieve these goals with the jigsaw activity in which students choose appropriate diagnostic tests for particular patient cases. To prepare for this lesson, you'll need to review the following key scientific concepts that will be presented throughout the lesson. Early detection of tumors helps avoid the challenge of treating a tumor that has metastasized. Preventive screens check for signs of cancer in healthy people. Diagnostic tests are done after people report symptoms. Different imaging techniques are used for different purposes. Generally, for dense tissue, such as bone, X-rays are used. For soft tissue, ultrasounds. For tissue with high water content, MRIs. For the digestive tract, endoscopies. And for metastases, PET scans. You can review the scientific content in the background reading provided for you in the teacher primer, the teacher manual, and the student workbook. The teacher primer provides in-depth knowledge about the scientific content presented in this lesson. The teacher manual or lesson plan provides a minute-by-minute explanation of the lesson structure. And the student workbook provides additional explanation for students. Be sure to print the lesson worksheet and the homework worksheet. The key points of the do now are that screens identify abnormalities in healthy people. Diagnostic tests are done in people with symptoms to identify whether the abnormality is a tumor. And the only way to grade or stage a tumor is to take a biopsy. We'll get there by following how cancer detection normally proceeds, from self-exams to biopsy. We begin by establishing a key point of this lesson. Tumors that stay undetected can metastasize and cause enormous treatment challenges. Recall Steve Jobs' pancreatic cancer that began metastasizing in his 20s but was not found until his 50s. Preventive screens are one way to detect abnormalities. These are done in healthy people, whereas diagnostic tests are performed on people who have already reported symptoms. In this lesson, we review the types of screens and diagnostics that doctors use to detect tumors. People can screen themselves at home by performing routine self-exams, or even just by taking note of persistent symptoms. Imaging screens, such as mammograms, are performed on women after they reach a certain age to detect any abnormalities in breast tissue to prevent breast cancer. It is also possible to screen internal organs, such as the stomach, esophagus, and colon, by inserting a camera through the person's digestive tract. Genetic screens and chemical marker screens can also identify abnormalities. But how do we know if an abnormality is due to cancer? To do this, we turn to diagnostics. Diagnostic imaging is one way to identify a tumor. X-rays, ultrasounds, and MRIs are common imaging techniques that can be used to find tumors in different types of tissue. But we cannot know exactly what the tumor is until a biopsy is performed. This is when a sample of the tumor tissue is taken out and examined. The activity for this lesson is a jigsaw in which students will split into 4 groups based on the 4 patient cases that they will examine. In each case study, the students will determine what tests need to be ordered for each patient using the table provided at the end of the worksheet. The key points of the activity are that imaging can distinguish a mass of tumor cells. Ultrasounds can distinguish solid tumors from cysts, and only biopsies can be used to grade or stage the tumor. Refer to the worksheet answers for more details. After the students have completed their portions of the worksheet, have each group coordinate with the other groups to compare notes. The wrap-up focuses on why certain tests are more suitable in certain circumstances compared to others. For homework, have students read an article featured in the Boston Globe that discusses the real-world challenges of making medical decisions based on statistics. This is a very important homework as it lays the foundations for upcoming discussions of the rationale behind screenings and treatment guidelines. Students will be tested on this in the final exam, so it is important to ensure they do it. The key points of the homework are that public health recommendations are based on population statistics, and individuals may make choices that are different from those of the population as a whole. Sometimes lack of resources limit individual choices. One of the most common challenges students have is thinking that mammograms detect tumors. They may, but mammograms really detect density of tissue. Some dense tissue may be caused by tumors, but not always. Also, not every tumor produces dense tissue and therefore would not be detected by mammograms. At the end of the lesson, collect the lesson worksheets to assess students' explanations of different detection methods and why these different methods are needed. This lesson deals with testing at the individual level. We will switch our focus to the population as a whole in the next lesson. Don't forget, if you have any questions, concerns, or feedback, to let us know. You can contact any of the CTSE team members and we'll be happy to help you.